After Damian came to the conclusion that he was the best Robin of all, he decides to prove his point and summons the other Robins to a meeting on a rooftop, where he warns them that he would soon defeat every single one of them in whatever they considered themselves the best at. He also mentions that he would take a personal item from each of them as a trophy of his victory to frame in his room. Hearing all that, Dick, Jason, and Tim get disappointed for having gone all the way there just for this, and Tim says that he was just a kid and that any of them would wreck him. However, a little later, as soon as Tim Drake goes to the Batcave to talk to Batman about the threat they received, that is when he sees Damian in Bruce's place, who right away tells Tim that he was far too predictable. Tim then prepares to fight, but instead, Damian shows images of Tim losing control, almost coming to kill an enemy, trying to mess with his mind. Tim grows super irritated and attacks Damian, and although Damian initially gets the upper hand against Tim, the fight continues for a while, and he eventually gets thrown away. The two keep arguing about the slip-up Tim had, and in a short time, Damian ends up making Tim admit that he really thought about killing, leaving Damian satisfied as he watched Tim ride away on his motorcycle. Sometime later, Jason was in his safe house relaxing a bit until he feels that something was wrong, right after being attacked by Damian, who was hiding on his ceiling waiting for the opportunity to show that he was the best in combat. Jason then grabs his batons while Damian wielded his sword, and after a long fight where Damian humiliated Jason for having let himself get captured by the Joker, Damian eventually manages to defeat Jason by playing a bit dirty and says that the victory was his, leaving while carrying his helmet as a trophy. However, a little later, Damian and his brothers end up gathering to defeat some enemies on a mission, and as soon as everything settles down and they have some time to themselves, Nightwing tells Damian that he heard he already visited Jason and Tim, handing over his old baton to him as a trophy and saying there was no reason to fight, because in case Damian hadn't noticed, he was the only one who still carried the R on his chest.